Hey everyone, what is the absolute value? Is exactly distance of a point from the origin. Therefore, when you have -2 absolute value and 2 absolute value, they are the same because the distance from 2 to 0 and -2 to the 0 are 2 units and they are the same. But if we're gonna to introduce mathematically, we must know when we have a x, absolute value of the x, if x is positive is exactly x, but if x is negative, the answer and output is -x. For example, a simple question, when x between 1 and until 2, what is the value of this? X minus 5. You know, every point in here, when you in the absolute value is negative, gonna to come out, it must in front of the parenthesis. Therefore, is exactly this, and answer -x plus 5. This one, it doesn't need when, because x between 6 and 7, the output is positive and exactly x minus 5 come out. But some tricky question. Notice, when you have absolute value in every equations or non-equations, you must split in the root point. Therefore, x plus 1 equal to 0, x exactly -1, and if x greater -1 greater than equal, or x less than -1. If x greater than -1, exactly it came out itself plus 2x less than 3, therefore is 3x plus 1 less than equal to 3, and it's turned out to 2, therefore x less than 2 divided 3. This from two parts we know exactly x 2 over 3 intersected to x minus 1. The answer is exactly answer 1 is x between 2 over 3 and -1. But another part, when we gonna to split to the second part, we know our equation is exactly this, and our equation turned to -x minus 1 plus 2x less than or equal 3, and answer comes to x less than 4. Intersected this part exactly, x minus less than -1. This part is exactly, you know, if you're gonna to show it better, 0, this is 4, this is -1, for example. These two part intersection is exactly from this part and is x less than -1, but is answer 2. If we gonna to add this answer together, therefore union of these two parts is exactly x less than 2 divided 3. Why? Because if I gonna to show it to understand better, you consider this part is 0, 2 over 3 and -1, exactly that is this part, and this one exactly from this part, and if we put union these sets is exactly this part is x belonging to -2 divided to 3. But properties of absolute value. At the first step, you must know one thing is output, it must be positive or 0. For example, it doesn't happen absolute value of something be -3. It's never happened. Or if absolute value of something be 0, exactly something is in the absolute value is 0. For example, in this question, 3x minus 2 absolute value is 0, and therefore 3x minus 2 is 0, and 3x equal to x is 2 over 3. But another important properties number 2, if two absolute value are equal, they must not only they must equal each other, but one of them is equal to opposite side of this. Therefore, is not only u equal to v, but also u equal to -v. For example, these two absolute value are equal. 2x is equal 3x minus 1. 2x equal minus 3x plus 1. If you're gonna to solve this question, the x minus 2x plus 1 when it's turned to the left, and x is exactly 1, and another one, 2x plus 3x is 1, and 5x is 1, and x is exactly 1 over 5. Another thing is so important, when you have a fraction and this fraction is inside the absolute value, you can separate each other and it can turn to absolute value of u divided to absolute value of the v. For example, in this question, when we have this, at the first we can separate by 2x minus 1 divided to absolute value of 3x plus 4, 1 divided to 1, and 2x minus 1 absolute value is 3x plus 4 absolute value. And from previous example, we must know 2x minus 1 in the first equal to 3x plus 4, and another we must equal it by opposite side. Therefore, minus 1 minus 3x minus 4. And I leave it this equation solving for you as an exercise. But one more thing is so important. You must know. It's so wonderful. Equality is this. When an absolute value is less than something, one thing is inside the absolute value is exactly between this a and minus a. For example, when absolute value of x less than 2, exactly x between minus 2 and 2. But in opposite side, when absolute value is greater than something, at the first you consider it does an absolute value and remove the absolute value, and x is greater than a, and in other side you must say not only x greater than a, but also x is less than minus a. For example, x greater than 4. You say x is greater than 4 or x less than minus 4. Let's solve this question to understand it better. If we're gonna to solve this, at the first we know 4x plus 5 is between minus 3 and 3, and this implies that 4x minus 5 greater than 3, and or 4x minus 5 is less than minus 3. But if we're gonna to solve this part, at the first I add minus 5 to this inequality, and this inequality turns to minus a, 4x minus 2, and if I divide it to 4 divided to the 4 is minus 2x minus 1 over 2. But another part, if we're gonna answer, we know 4x is more than 8 and x is more than 2, and this part 4x less than 2 and x less than 1 over 2. Therefore, the total answer is exactly minus infinity until 1 over 2 and union 2 until positive infinity. We're going to solve this equation exactly the same, but just this little change. At the first I solve this. When this appear, one thing is inside the absolute value is between 7 and minus 7, and if we add a 1 unit to this inequality is minus 6 and 8. This part of equation, it's happen for every x, but it doesn't restrict it our x, and if we follow the other side, absolute value is less than 8, therefore x is between 8 and minus 8. In the other side, the absolute value of x minus 1 at the first is larger than 7, and it implies that absolute value is larger than 8, and x larger than 8 or x less than minus 8. If you see, they are exactly the opposite side. This give the x between 8 and minus 8, and it's take x belong to domain exactly the opposite side of this part.